She can't hear me. I don't know. I think it's that system needs to be replaced. You may have to turn this down a little bit. Front Street, which I was in the store the other day. And there was a lady in front of me. She was talking about how much the medicine costs. Dog food, you can't buy your medicine, something wrong. You know, and I know that might be bad, and it might be, I might have to pay for that one, but that was, and if I was gonna help her, I should have helped her. You know, but I couldn't do it. They were treats. Money. Well, this is the same thing we were talking about last week. People have different priorities. And so the question is, they didn't meet my standard. Right. But who work to make money, just to make money. You know, you sacrifice so many things just for the love of money. And so when you turn on everything, it's all about the excess. You know, you don't, the shows that are popular aren't the ones about folk helping folk. And so that's a thought that we have, that Jesus is saying, if you bless folk here, then you're building up treasure. There's so many things that can happen, and then you're so hurt because you've lost what you had here. And so that's what he's saying. Wherever your treasure is, that's what desire your hearts with, a lot of your attention. You know, if God does not have that focus in your life, then he has a very small part of your life. Turn it on.
To have nice things, and you know, he wants to share these nice things, but you know, a person said to me one day, said, you know, when you're thinking about within the church, they said my stable, I ain't had to walk the roads and look for food or whatever.
Well, I don't think that, I'm not telling you you have to be a monk to be holy. I'm just saying that that can't be your focus.
So what you want, what the person has said about
Well, I mean, it depends. For example, if you're singing, and whoever, I can't think of, my mind went blank. Give me a modern singer. Okay, and you were going to make money with him coming. So I mean, I don't know if he charges and give back. So, you know, if Paul said, you're looking for something, I go somewhere else. I ain't gonna get mad if they don't pay me, but I be giving a little stink eye. You know, a lot of pastors like that will charge, and so that they can come back and bless folk in their area, The question is whether or not you're doing it for God or whether or not you're doing it for yourself. You want to change the batteries? Well, I look at it this way. I remember when I first started being involved in church, and it's wrong. I'm just saying it's the way it is. And again, there are people who take salaries and turn it back in. And you gonna check to see if I did this, and I've got to bring my, I got to, that to me seems to be a little bit, that's just me. The problem with church, and we're going to move on from this particular, the problem with church is that church is two organisms, certain things that you have to take care of. You got to pay the light bill. You got to, you got things that you have to do. And so there are expenses part of the church affect the spiritual part of the church, because that's hard. And because, for example, if you have an outreach, revival is not to make money. So when you hold a revival, the back of your mind is not whether or not we're going to make money from, it's whether or not we are going to promote the word. If we lose money, we're having this revival. If ain't but 4 folk come here, we're going to have this revival because that's what we feel is needed. But you get to the point, the effect of the revival, because you're looking to bring certain people in for show or whatever, that's not going to promote the revival, but it's going to promote the bottom line of the church. And so that's always a problem to trust God. You got the trustees, no offense, trustees say, well, look, we can't do that because we ain't got the money for the building campaign or this. And people say, well, look, God, you got to trust God. But going to verse 22 and 23. The lamp of the body is the eye. If therefore your eye is good, your whole body will be full of light. But if your eye is bad, then your whole body will be full of darkness. If therefore the light that is in you is darkness, how great is that darkness? We talked about this earlier when we were talking about cutting off hands and stuff like that. It's pretty much the same topic. You are what you see. And when I was younger, unmarried Faye, girl that was walking, what she had on and whatever, remember, whatever, because that was in my eye. I can know people right now who cars, they can tell you what car passed, what model it was, because that's what they see, that's what they're tuned to. And whatever your things that are positive of light, that makes you positive and of light, because that's what you're focusing on. So when we start talking about raising ourselves up and getting full of the Holy Spirit and living, I tell the church all the time, I would have been a much better father than I was. I'm not saying that I was a bad father, but I would have been a much better person than I was, because everything they see and everything they talk about is negative. That's because of their sight, what they see, what they dwell on. I don't care what it was, there's going to be, you can say, that was really, really a nice service. Well, I thought it was a nice service, but don't that about it, because their focus is different. And so that's how we have to guide ourselves. We have to lift ourselves up so that we see light. The eyes, it's more perception than eyes. That's probably the word I want to use, perception. You ain't saying nothing else tonight. You didn't said so stop making them faces. Okay, verse 24 and 25 will bring us pretty much back where we started at. No one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will be loyal to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and mammon. Therefore I say to you, do not worry about your life, what you will eat, what you will drink, nor about your body, or what you will put on. Is not life more than food, and the body more than clothing? Look at the birds of the air, for they neither sow nor reap, nor gather into barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them. Are you not more valuable than they? Which of you by worrying can add 1 cubit to his stature? So why do you worry about your clothing? Consider the lilies of the field, how they grow. They neither toil nor spin. 29, and yet I say to you that even Solomon in all of his glory was not arrayed like one of these. Now, 30, if God so clothes the grass of the field, which is, and tomorrow is thrown into the oven, will he not much more clothe you, O you of little faith? Whew, that's a lot of stuff. But the first part is you can't serve two masters. Mammon has been taken to be money, it's been taken to be the world, that carnal nature. And it's hard, and that's our struggle. You know, Paul talks about the flesh and the spirit. That's our struggle, trying to serve many things that God requires seems to be the opposite of what the world requires. And if you take money, for example, a lot of folks complain about giving money to the church because they could use that money to do something else. And I'm not talking about paying the rent. I'm talking about, I need my nails done, girl. It's that our vanity rather than our necessity, because we want to do what we want to do. But I'm going to do it. I'm not begrudging it, but I've already, in the back of my mind, I'm saying, dang, there's something else I could be doing, but I'm going to be doing it, and then I'll probably enjoy it, but it still hit my, and your mind, and like I said, your mind is going to think these things, and so you got, get to the time that I'm glad, I'm happy, because those are the times when the conflicts come, and that's what makes us, that's why I say that people can't say they don't sin, because there's always something going through your mind. He always said, found out later she had depression, because she said she's for God, and at first, and she could never see God like that again. And she got depressed because she could never see God and had these doubts and stuff. But the proof was she never stopped feeding and working and doing what she was doing. So even though she had these momentary lapses or these depressionaries, it didn't stop her from doing the work. So the same thing with us. We're going to have some times when we're going to be challenged, but you just got to go ahead and continue to do the work, and God will continue to bless you and keep you. But then we come to 25. Therefore, I'll say to you, do not worry about your life or what you will eat, what you will drink, nor about your body. What about that? Come on, do my thing. What about that? What y'all think about that? Come on, give me a little bit more. The key, and I agree, the key is in that last line. Why worry? Right, but we have to understand, and I agree. The flesh. Out, skin get all cracked up, but it's hard, like you said, to get to that point where we have that type of faith. That I'm just saying that if you do what you're supposed to do, live like God tells you to do, that we have to have about it, don't worry about it, and if you're going to worry about it, don't pray about it. Because it's not going to make a difference. We don't have any control. He's saying that God takes care of the flowers, the birds, and the bees, and that we are more in his eyes than the birds and the bees of us. And that goes back to what you said earlier, Sister Linda, about people needing help and not asking, because a lot of times we're not looking. He prayed, God save me, and so a boat came by, and he said, no, keep on going, God's going to save me, and another boat came by, and finally the helicopter, you know. So a lot of times we're looking for things that, and God has already sent something for us, and we won't accept what God has sent because it's not. I want to touch this. Desiree, go to 7, 1 through 5. And then we'll wrap up for the night. Thank y'all. I don't mean to keep y'all. Judge not that you not be judged, for what judgment you judge, you will be judged, and with measure you use, you will be measured back to you. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, and look at the plank is in your own eye? Hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. There are two things here. The first thing is it says, judge not that you not be judged. That's my interpretation, is that's judge, saying that you're a sinner, or that you're not righteous, that I'm looking at your soul like I can make some type of prediction. That's not deciding facts. We have the opportunity, alcoholic. That's the fact. You can see it. The fact that I'm alcoholic does not mean that God does not love me. But it may mean right to look and see. Frank, that's what we were talking about before. We have the right to look and decide facts. Otherwise, how could we, the scripture says if your brother is falling, if I can't see what you're doing to try to pick you up, then, and we get to the point about judgment, people don't want to, that's not judging to try to see somebody who's falling and trying to help them up. That's seeing the facts of what's right there. It's just like if if you have cookies in a cookie jar and your child takes the cookies, and you said, boy, you shouldn't have took the cookie. And, you just seen it. You making that call. You can make factual choices. We'd be crazy if we couldn't not judge, but see what people happen, things that are happening around us, and not be able to make that call. I can't tell you that person is not worthy. I can't tell you. I see that you're going this way, and whatever. This comes to the second part. Before we start looking at us, because the first thing, if I say, Frank, you doing it, and he can say, well, you doing this, because we're defensive. So, and I'm not saying that anybody, and if that's the standard, it's probably going to be just like when Jesus had that woman who was committed adultery. Ye who was without sin cast the first stone, and there's nobody there, because we all come short. But a lot of times we want to look at other people for what they're not doing without first looking at ourselves and see where we need to be picked up at. And so it's a two-edged sword. You want to help your brother, but are you sure that are you the right one, or are you called? He says, because being, you got something blocking your, and a lot of times that's how it is. People get on their high horse and they're righteous, but they're not righteous on the inside. It looks good from the outside, but it's not really good on the inside. Like if you don't get I'm not saying telling you to drink or not to drink. I personally, in your Facebook, I don't see anything in the Bible that says that you can't drink. Don't take much wine. Don't say don't drink wine. And Jesus made wine. So he made the best wine. He made that 100 proof stuff when he said, you're drinking and then you're going home and sipping. and going home or going to the shop, people, because everybody else know. I mean, just be true with it. I mean, I ain't gonna, you know, just be real with it. And that's the thing about it. Christians, we have to be real. Yeah, we falling short. I'm not this imitation halo on, trying to be something we're not because we haven't raised ourselves up. And as we get better in the word, we will raise ourselves up, and the best thing could be to try to be real. And when you're real, people see who you are. And that's why I say, you know, they say talking relationships with pastors because they think we walk on water or something. I don't know. Last time I walked on water, I didn't get about 7 steps before I fell closer to God. But it's the way you do it. You have to do it out of love rather than spite. You have to do it out of love rather than trying to look down on people. It's the most effective witness ever is when you can tell somebody, I've been where you are, but you know I'm a little bit better now, and so why don't you come with me? That's what it's about, rather than saying you.
Righteous, they're so saved and sanctified and filled with something that when you try to explain to them, you know, I've been through this with people. I don't have a halo on my head, and by me doing that, they decided to come to God. So how, with our self-righteous ways sometimes, how do you deal with people like that? And
You have to know within yourself. For example, like I said, I don't see anything wrong with drinking, and I don't drink now. I won't take a drink of beer. I mean, like I said, I don't see nothing wrong with it. That's just me. But I still won't go to because I think there's anything wrong. It's just that I don't want to cause somebody else to stumble because they, ooh, Reverend Lewis is up there buying beer. Let's walk around like we don't have any faults. You know, and so that's what makes it difficult. And so the thing is, you can have a fault, you just can't lie in your fault.
We should have a Christian like.
Hmm?
We should have like Christian.
Yeah, you're right.